Hi, and welcome once again to Moral High Ground, where I'm going to talk about what I think is morally right, and hopefully it's morally right to you. I'm want to talk about today giving a purpose to somebody, or a purpose to the people, period. And the reason why I say this, and I just been pondering some things, and I've been pondering what truly matters to the people in America. Now, when I say what truly matters to the people in America, I mean literally the people in America, not, or should I say, the common folk, the regular people, anyone who's not making billions of dollars and is a CEO of a corporation or a bureaucrat or a lawyer for that fact. So, pretty much city officials, government officials, wealthy people, they don't mix with this conversation I'm talking about. And that's because they had enough wealth, enough things to keep them financially set that they don't truly see the problems that we see in the world. And it's something that needs to be brought to everyone's attention. These people don't care about what happens to us on a daily basis. They only care about uh, their top bottom lines, the sales and whatnot, and residuals that they get in constantly from wherever it comes from. Bureaucrats and Republicans and Democrats, they're more on a thing of trying to pull money from sources and put it in other places and try to stem things off the top. At least that's the way I look at it. Okay? I mean, they could be sitting there trying to work for us like they claim to be, but it seems to be the same speech from both Democrats and Republicans, just twisted in different ways to make you think that they're doing something worthwhile for the rest of us. When obviously we can see it's not. 2024 is coming, and we're going to vote in another president. And that president, you got the options. You got Trump, you got Biden, and this new guy that Elon Musk is supporting, and all this other stuff. But are they for the people? Do they give the people a reason to want to stay in the country, a purpose to fight, to get work, to do things? I don't think not. I think it's the same nonsense over and over again. And which brings me to the, I mean, it brings me to an idea that, and I've said multiple times about new political parties. People need to come up with new solutions to find government officials, things like that. But I tend to believe that people know what the problems are in the government and everything. Like I said, all the wealthiest people, people who are in power, don't see what we see on a common everyday to day basis, especially when it comes to how we feel about our families, how we feel about our loved ones, our friends, financial earnings. They truly don't care. They want you to be all about what's the new thing, what's the most wealthiest thing, what you can get that's going to make you look good. And that way you keep buying it, keep giving more residuals to them. You know, they throw all these concepts out there in the air, I think. Concepts that got people so brainwashed. They go, oh, okay, this is what this person's platform was about, or this person's, uh, or these people's, I should say, product is about. It's not about are your kids safe in school? Obviously, not anymore. From the clip I made yesterday or the last week or so, where I was talking about parents not being able to speak up against how they feel about their children being taught and things like that. That's should be a number one priority of making sure that you're giving people a purpose. And that in that sense, if a school can go in and say we're going to do things without the parents' support or without the parents' permission, then we're obviously saying the parents don't matter. Your kids are ours to use at our will, and we can tell them to do anything we want. This is bad. It's a very bad thing. It's something that shouldn't be ignored. So with that, just that one part is that giving the people what they need. Is it helping the people? Is it helping to provide the people with children that will benefit us in the future? No, it's just going to be another chaotic shit fest. And the reason why I say that is because, like I said before, the kids of the future, in that sense that, you know, it happened so quick, like shit. You know, I don't know, 30 years ago, I was a teenager, you know, and it doesn't seem that long ago for me. And I believe that's the same way for everybody else that's in my age bracket. It's like, well, that was just like yesterday. They remember something from 20, 30 years ago like it was just yesterday. So, with that being said, you can also see the change within those time periods where you're a kid and you're in your 20s and you think, like, oh, I'm a grown up now because you reach a certain number in the state and the government tells you you're a grown up. But you're thinking like a kid. Because then 10 years later, and another five onto that, you're like, damn, I was stupid. What was I thinking about? I thought I was smart. Then you look at kids younger than you, or people that's younger than you in their 20s, and you go, I remember when I thought stupid like that. You know, just things like this. So, in every age bracket, there's someone younger, and there's someone that looks and thinks like a chick kid. This is the way it is. There's someone that's younger, thinks and looks like they're a kid. I don't care what your age bracket is. Hell, you could be 60 and there's someone in his 60s who's acting like he's 13 or like he's 20 something years old. And like my job, I hang around people that's in that age bracket, the 60s and 50s and all that. And you'd be surprised how many of them act more childish than regular people or people in the 30s or 40s age bracket. And so what I'm saying is we need to educate children that's going to be able to support themselves in the future and be able to support a better future and a better tomorrow. And you can't do that by forcing make believe things in their minds and telling their parents that they have no rights to say or teach their kids what they want. You got to take them out of school and create your own school for your kids. It's about time to say the government is not responsible for taking care of my child. And that's how you have to look at it. Put them in martial arts class, put them in music classes, teach them books that you thought were good when you were a child. You know, things like that. Keep them steadily busy where they can pick up habits and abilities that will benefit them in the future. You know, make alternative schools for people. And I tend to believe that Black Americans, when we're in school, there's teachers, certain teachers that will automatically label a kid or make them feel like they're less than because either their ability to learn isn't on the level of the school's ability to learn or teach, I should say. And it just makes it for chaos and a lot of puts kids in a state of mind where they feel, well, I'm not learning anything. Who gives a shit? And so they just start acting out. And so that's why we have these problems with teenagers and so forth, because there's enough of that bullying from teachers bullying. And that's the thing that doesn't get said. Yeah, there's kids that bully kids, but teachers bully worse. And guarantee there's something wrong with every school system. See, now, if you watch the news and hear the numbers of money that goes in to the education system, you got to wonder why is it that every politician every year since, shoot, who knows, has been sitting there begging for money for the education system. It's because something isn't right there. And you take God out of the school, and you take all these other things out of school, then you got corruption. So I'm pretty much telling you, they're not giving the kids of the future a purpose. They're not. So we need to worry about how we can make a purpose for all people right now. So with that being said, another issue I think that it's not giving anyone a purpose is incarceration. Now, I don't know how the prisons function nowadays, or should I say jails system, either way, because the cops don't do their jobs. I done seen people get attacked. I done seen people sprung out on drugs, people fighting each other, women running around being abused and screaming in the middle of the night. And I've had to go out and help myself. I'm just a Samaritan or a citizen. And I have to say that it's to the point now where reality, in reality, you can take one of these guys that make the superhero weapons, real ones that could physically attack someone, and give him a person that makes cosplay and say, hey, I will make a suit for you, and you can go out and do whatever you're going to do and fight crime. And that person probably will not go to jail because the cops don't do their job. And everybody got their wish during COVID, which was a crazy time. But they got their wish to have the cops defunded without even passing a bill, but just with the threats of lawsuits and retaliation towards it from the citizens to the law enforcement itself. And so, with that being said, it comes to a sense that people need to take the law in their own hands and say screw court. Like right now, the individuals here in Portland, and it's been said on the news the other day that there's not that many public defenders, there's not that many lawyers now. Well, it's obvious that you can't keep a job where you're steady trying to defend someone that you know is a criminal. Morally, it should eat at you wrong. You're defending a serial killer or a rapist or a murderer or, some kind of robber or whatever, just criminal after criminal. Unless you can find one that is actually not a criminal. And see, I don't think the justice system does that fairly. So there's somebody, if you know someone's character, a good hearted person, because anything can happen when a person's mad. You're going to say all kinds of things, they're going to do all kinds of weird body language and all kinds of things, but that doesn't mean that they are a bad person. It doesn't mean that they are corrupt. It just means they're in the moment. In the moment, you can say and do all kinds of stuff. That doesn't stop you from having that character that you have, that good nature, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Looking out for your people type of thing. That doesn't mean you bad. What makes it bad is the law system. And so, where I'm at with this, where I'm going with this is, once again, we're trying to give purpose to the people. Okay? Now, people getting locked up. Here's where I sit with that. Yes, in some cases, people should pay a penalty for their actions. When it comes to what I'm just saying about a person that's innocent that might be caught up in the legal system, there should be a better way to determine that separate from the way we got now. That way, a lot of innocent people don't go to prison or jail just because their skin color. And I'm pausing on that because that's the number one. Given any other race in the country, a black person is most likely to go to jail just for being black. And I don't care how you guys look at it. It's the honest to God truth. I'm a good-hearted person. You know, there's things where it's just plain and simply piss me off. I'm gonna fight back and retaliate. And so that's just how it is. But other than that, I'm a cool dude, laid back, and I like to laugh. I ain't got no time to drama. So I've been incarcerated because of bullshit. And the thing about it is, a lot of people have, but the opportunities to get back to rehabilitate yourself isn't there. You know, and somewhere if you do something when you're a kid, let's say a fight, and you break something, it's on your juvenile record. But after a while, your juvenile record will bleed into your adult record. And so the problem with this is they don't want to look at it like, oh, a person can change. And that's the problem there. You talk about change and rehabilitation, but yet you don't support the change. You keep a criminal record, a lifelong criminal record, and say, hey, this is what this person really is. Like it's some big dark secret. It's not. It's just a momentary lapse of judgment and a part in time in your life. Not unless you are a demented person and you choose to go around doing these things through your whole lifespan, through your whole career as a supervillain or whatever the hell it is you're trying to be. And so that's just all it is. Lacks of judgment is not understanding the world and things. And this, so to build that criminal record from childhood on into adulthood is just ridiculous. You're holding people back. And you hold them back more when they go look for employment and they go, oh, when's the last time you've been incarcerated? And they don't look at it like, oh, you did time? Okay, good for you. We're going to help you get a job. No, they say, oh, well, we find somebody else. Oh, we really don't think you suit us now. Stuff like that. It's discouraging for all people. It's just ridiculous. So a person that doesn't have the power or will to keep on fighting and keep on keeping on and make something happen so they can succeed and become a successful citizen, they tend to give up. They'll give up and then they'll go to the life that the citizens are, or should I say, society says they are. They're saying, "Oh, that person's a criminal now. They're on drugs and they're dealing with prostitutes and all this stuff." Of course they are. You didn't give them the opportunity when they needed it to get the employment that could probably change their life for the benefit of their families and for them personal growth. And so this is a problem. And I don't think it's given a purpose to those people. If anything, if there's criminals that get incarcerated for rape and murder and all that, here's the solution. And it has been things like what I'm about to say done, but they've only did it in the basic training form. So I'm saying because it's obvious that this society is just changing people to be soft and weak and so forth. And it's to the point where if we're, well, I mean, talking to people in society, a lot of people talk about China and Russia. Excuse me, China and Russia probably attacking America and things like that. If this is the truth and this is the case and this is what people believe, then honestly, it makes sense to try to find warriors to fight against the combatants. Okay, and so the best thing to do is instead of just, people don't want to kill them. People don't want to kill murderers and things. So it's against God's will, and then yet they don't believe in God, separation of church and state. So it's the most, once again, American thing to tell you one thing and do another. I say just put them in the army, put them in the military. Don't have to put them with the rest of the troops. You put them in a separate place from everybody else. And when war breaks out, hey, you like to kill? Go out there, kill them all. It's plain and simple. Let's make it that way. You're known for shooting people. Go out there and shoot our enemy. And after they serve, all their criminal records are gone. Or there's a certain place in a certain state, a state that probably has a low population of people, and say, hey, we're making a state for ex-cons. All jobs are available, something like that. Here's the money that you're going to get for serving for us. Um, and we're going to give you uh, acknowledgement as you being a great American patriot or a warrior or fighter, whatever. And that is just the idea of giving these people purposes to get their lives back. And I'm just saying that it happens. Things happen in the world, but it doesn't stay that way unless you can't change it or you don't have the ambitions, desire, or will to want to change things. And this is the problem is people put too much faith, blind faith in things. And I ponder this because of our current situation with technology. We have all these streaming services, all these super, what do you call them, social medias and all this stuff. We got all these things, and people sign up for these apps and all this stuff so quick, just thinking, hey, this is good, but really, it's bad. Like people, oh, now they're talking about TikTok in China, or they're talking about uh, somebody hacking or spamming. And the thing about it is, there should have been uh, boundaries and things put up, walls put up to protect the people with these, accounts. But it doesn't. They don't do that. And so where I'm going with this part is we need people, and I'm pretty positive all people, seeing how they all use the internet, they all use social media. The people need a service that finds a way to weed out the catfishes, to weed out the con people that steady trying to sell you some crap. Weed out the. I mean, there's a guy who has a YouTube channel. I don't know what his name is, but it's funny. He gets on the phone and he pretends to be an old bird, and he sits there and he goes, "Oh, you want my social security number?" And then he, pulls out all these people's identities that's trying to scam you from India. And so these type of things should be protected. We should protect people's information and make it a priority to add repercussions to the ones that do all these frauds, these scams, these hacking, these catfishes, and make them feel the repercussions for their actions to make it a safer internet thing for ourselves. Shouldn't have to go and get another app to put on your phone or your computer to be able to block these things out and weed out whoever it is. Because sometimes they'll put spam and you put important shit in your spam on your freaking emails, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't know, because you're trying to block out all the other people who are conning you. And so this is what I think people want, you know, because they're on the internet all the time. So it makes perfect sense to give the people what they want, to give them a purpose to want to be on the internet, to be feeling safe, to be used any site as possible. It might not be a big purpose that people want, but it's something. It's not nothing, but I'm pretty positive with so many people out there that need something where you're truly making people safe. And that goes with the people, especially women and kids, because there's guys out there that always hunt kids and stuff. I don't know what you call it, crime watchers or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And the same thing with the women, there's women on OnlyFans, all this stuff. You got to find a way to protect these women because they don't know any better than to do what they're doing. And when I say they don't know any better, I mean they don't know any better way to use the sites or find protection for their images that they're throwing out there constantly. You know, and women are the most proactive with these sites and things. So it has to be the fact that there has to be some kind of protection thing to stop these things. Right? But someone's always going to record either with their phone or whatever. So I don't know how you protect women online, to be honest with you, but I just think it should be something thought about. Anyway, so the next thing I want to say, this is the big one, okay? Giving a purpose to all people of different cultures and races in this country. Now you're like, oh, everyone's got laws and rights and all these groups and stuff. None of that stuff's protecting people on a regular day basis. It truly isn't. Okay, like I was saying about black people, black men could walk down the street and all of a sudden, oh, he did this. It could be a thing where he just coincidence walked into a part of town and some guy just murdered some chick, and you happen to be on the corner smoking a cigarette, don't even know where the girl is, and cops roll up and think you're the guy, and you go to jail. This has been happening with Americans and black folks for a long time. Get accused of something they ain't never did. And so the same thing with foreigners that come over. They're told this story about, hey, America's a land of milk and honey. It's like streets are paved with gold type of thing. You can make a good living here. Everyone's wealthy here. Everyone's rich, and then get here and watch the reality of how oppressed we are, how depressed we are, and how we're really just conservative slaves. And whether no one believes that or not, but it's the honest to God truth. We're working our asses off to make sure that people in power and wealthy people stay wealthy. That's what we're doing. And so the purpose here, what I'm trying to say is, and I know I just kind of went off topic when I start talking about the blacks and I'm talking about foreigners. But what I'm trying to say is, American people, we all try to live together. But the thing about it is, America automatically gives you a thing, tells everyone in the world, we are all about integration. We're all about bringing people together. And so they do that by saying, hey, we're taking all these foreigners, but yet they give these foreigners a guideline when they get their green card on who to interact with, who not to interact with, how to talk to people, and what type of benefits they're getting as American citizens. Some people from, like, if I remember right, someone was explaining to me about the Korean War. Now the Koreans had a certain amount of money when they came over here, and they were offered some other type of thing for business. Same thing with the Russians in the 90s. The Russians came to America, or should I say to Oregon, and there was a big migration of them. And I think that was due to the Cold War ending. And when they came, it was more Like, whoa, what is this? It looked like they stepped out of a time capsule, some of them. I remember this boy, Dimitri, came out into our class and he was looking like he came out of World War II. But the thing about it was they had a certain guideline and things they had to follow. And so they didn't associate with black people because they were told that we were ignorant. And so the thing about that is this you can't have this integration if you're practicing separation. So if you're constantly going around preaching integration and practicing separation, where you're trying to tell people from the jump that some people aren't good to socialize with, and that should be an automatic fact with life. But to make it to where you say a whole culture, a whole race of people aren't worth interacting with is a problem. To keep it constantly bedded in society is a problem. The race card gets brought up by the news more than anything. The news, government, everything. So you're constantly thinking about it. And then to interact with people, the most ignorant people who don't even know their bloodlines, because that's what happened with the DNA thing. KKK people realized they had black in their DNA and started hating each other. And so it's like the thing comes down to one thing: humanity, and seeing how the human race is already dwindling, how it's trying to stop populating, and how it's accepting things that automatically will make abominations and just like destroy the whole planet when it comes to keeping the bloodline of humanity alive. We're all doomed to fail as a group of humans. But if we're gonna be a country that's supposed to be overpopulated with everybody, the big boiling pot, which is America, then it's time to start accepting people for who they are, treat them how it is, how they come. Is people ain't gonna stick around for too much longer with all that nonsense. It's just like it's honestly God truth. You can't gentrify the whole neighborhood of some people that have been living there for a minute and put it a whole nother race. And white people already feel entitled that the country's all theirs. The only problem is the country that they made is falling because of this factor that you say you practice integration and then you practice separation. So, with that being said, you can easily eliminate this. And this is what the people need. Giving the people a purpose is to start motivating people to have these places in power, have these places of authority. And when I say that, I mean people of different races and cultures. Like here in Oregon, this is why the whole Black Lives Matter thing here in Portland, Oregon was stupid. Is because there's no black official anywhere in the state of Oregon. And if they are, it's maybe one or two. But I mean, there's seriously none. And yet they portray themselves during that time period as caring about black people. There's more racist people and things in Portland, Oregon than anywhere else. So if you're a person of color, you're not going to get whatever you get from Atlanta and all this stuff. I always hear about black people, oh, they walk up to you and give you hugs and talk to you. Here, you don't get that. I walk out all the time like, hey, how you doing? People like, oh, shut the fuck up. Or get away from me. And that's your own black people. Yeah, and the other half of the white people, they're like, hey, how you doing? But then they turn around, just do you. So it's like, that mentality it can't get out of certain people's head because it's been embedded in America. And so, what the people need is for the government to open up and start. Like I said, school systems teaching them the wrong thing. The school system should be teaching kids how to be these business owners, these people of authority, these people to make a brighter future for tomorrow. And so, to do that, you have to let them all know about how government works, how they can benefit themselves, and how they can move forward. And that's just the bottom line. And it will make people become more integrated because they'll feel like they're a part of something because they have figures of authority that are all the same races as they are. And I'm not just saying make them black, make them Mexican, make them Asian, make them everything. But don't just have it all white and then have them judge over us like lords and gods. It's ridiculous. There's only one God, and He's Most High. Peace be with you all. and blessings upon you always.